You're watching Truth versus Hype. The government, facing heat for not being able to back its promises of job creation, has fallen back on one of its schemes called MUDRA, meant to promote lending to small businesses. Here is what the Finance Minister had to say at the time when it was launched in 2015 by the Prime Minister amidst much fanfare.
This is the unfunded class and the largest job generator in this country, after agriculture. For the first time, we thought that we must fund the unfunded.
Speaking earlier this month, BJP President Amit Shah said that in the 2 years since MUDRA has been in existence, 7.28 crore people have become self-employed. Separately, he said these small entrepreneurs received loans worth more than 3.17 lakh crore. Now, 7 crores people being employed, self-employed, is a very big number. According to some estimates, India needs to create 12 million or 1.2 crore jobs a year. And here, the government and the ruling party says they've effectively created more than 3 times as many jobs in just 2 years since MUDRA was launched. Now, this is nothing short of a job revolution. But then why is this not headline news? And why does it not match both existing data that's emerging on job creation or the lack of it, as well as popular sentiment, both of which suggest that job creation is shrinking? This is what we've now set out to examine over the next 30 minutes.
When we looked at the data on the MUDRA website, it said this. In year 1, 2015, the site says 3.48 crore loans were given out, worth 1.32 lakh crore rupees. In 2016, the figure went up to 3.97 crore, worth 1.75 lakh crore rupees. So the total comes to 7.45 crore loans, worth 3 lakh crore, roughly the same figure cited by Amit Shah.
The numbers do sound impressive, like a big new push by this government to fund the unfunded. Except that may not quite be the case. Let me explain. The lakhs and crores of rupees being lent is not from MUDRA per se. MUDRA is what is known as a refinance bank. In other words, it's meant to lend money to those who are lending to the poor and to coordinate these efforts. So who's then doing the actual lending? Banks and microfinance institutions, or MFIs, who lend small amounts to the poor. Now, this list of all the dozens and dozens of banks and MFIs is up on the MUDRA website. Now, are these entities making small loans only since MUDRA started? Even if they were lending earlier, has MUDRA led to a big spike in their lending to the poor and to those at the lower end of the chain? Let's look at what the available data tells us. And to make better sense of it, let's break it up between lending that banks are doing and lending that the MFIs or microfinance institutions are doing.
According to the MUDRA website, MFIs lent 45,904 crore rupees in 2015 and 56,837 crore rupees in 2016. So that's an increase of 23.8%. Totally lending by MFIs and non-banking financial companies make up almost 34% of all MUDRA loans. Impressive amounts until you look at the previous few years. MFI disbursals were already rising from 23.5 thousand crore rupees in 2014 to 37.5 thousand crore rupees in 2015, growing by 55%. So even before MUDRA, MFIs were lending large amounts and growing at a steady pace. So how is this linked to MUDRA? One argument could definitely be that MUDRA's refinance facility that provides loan to the banks and MFIs has boosted the growth. But if you look at how much refinance or loans MFIs have really taken from MUDRA, it is only rupees 616 crore, which is 1.34% of the total lending.
So has the government simply added an ongoing existing MFI lending to MUDRA and rebranded it as a new revolutionary scheme? I spoke to Ratna Vishwanathan, the head of the microfinance trade body Microfin and also an independent board member on MUDRA. And I began by asking her, what exactly is new about MUDRA when it comes to microfinance lending?
Microfinance lending, yes, was targeted lending to this segment because this was within a particular income definition. I think what has happened with MUDRA and with microfinance entities reporting against MUDRA is that today there is, you get a better sense of who and what you are lending to. Prior to MUDRA coming in, you just lent in an agnostic manner to anybody who qualified under this criteria.
But Ratna, what about this huge growth of microfinance lending? What's the reason for it? Does it have to do with MUDRA or are there other factors at play?
I'll tell you what has happened. So because from an unregulated platform you came on to a regulated platform, the confidence of investors, the confidence of people who are looking at this sector slowly started growing back, because once you're within the regulatory framework, there was a certain safety net that was assured because of the fact there is oversight, right?
So it really has nothing directly to do with MUDRA.
I don't think we should link the two, in my opinion, because I think MUDRA had a different focus. You see, the reason the Prime Minister's MUDRA Yojana, Pradhan Mantri MUDRA Yojana was introduced in 2014 was basically to meet the unfunded need of a certain segment of entrepreneurs, basically your very small and micro entrepreneurs.
Let's now look at banks, where a similar pattern seems to be emerging.
Banks lending under MUDRA have grown from 86,000 crore rupees to 1.28 lakh crore rupees, a growth that is 49%. That makes up the remaining 66% of the lending under MUDRA. Now, we tried to get the data from banks or from RBI on how much they have disbursed in loans under 10 lakhs to micro sector in the last year. Prior to MUDRA, we couldn't find disbursal data. But what we found is RBI data on outstanding loans under 10 lakhs, which definitely gives us a sense of the scale of lending by the banks. What we found is that in 2013, banks had 1 lakh crore of outstanding small loans. That jumped 50% to 1.5 lakh crore rupees in financial year 2014. This shows that bank lending to micro and small sector was already gaining pace pre-MUDRA. Also, like microfinance institutions, banks have barely availed MUDRA refinance money. They have only taken loans of 2,671 crore rupees from MUDRA. That is 3.1% of all bank lendings under the supposed scheme.
Again, has MUDRA simply taken ongoing bank lending of small micro loans and rebranded it as new? I spoke to Mr. Gopal Kansal, who heads the MSME or the micro and small enterprises sector of SBI, State Bank of India, India's biggest bank, and asked him again the same question: what's new about MUDRA?
Bank was doing this earlier also. It's not, we were not doing. Up to 10 lakhs, we were financing, but the focus was more on the higher values than on the smaller values. Now the focus is spread.
Mr. Kansal, do you have the numbers to back this up?
Yes, there is a substantial change in the numbers. There is a growth in when we talk in terms of smaller numbers, smaller loans in let us say up to 10 lakhs.
So, according to the MUDRA database, State Bank of India lent about 16,000 crores of small loans under 10 lakh rupees in 2016. What was the comparable figure pre-MUDRA?
So, specific numbers when you are asking, I need to get back. I will not have that numbers of immediately.
So, what effectively then has changed, Mr. Kansal?
If you look at the kind of excitement and kind of awareness it has created across the country, across all banks and across our branches and even the customers. Everyone is now talking about MUDRA and everyone is now talking about small loans.
Is indeed everyone talking about MUDRA? Are they aware of it? Who exactly are getting these loans? Is it creating jobs, new jobs? We try to find out from on the ground.
We have come to Moti Nagar in West Delhi to film a local small finance company, iFinance Private Limited, giving small business loans to people. So this loan that you just gave, does it count as a normal loan or a MUDRA loan?
No, it actually it will count as a normal loan, but they can also go for a MUDRA loan. Or
is it different?
No, it's not that different. but it's different. Rate of interest is different.
आप क्या बिजनेस करते हैं सर?
ये छोटा मोटा काम करते हैं सर,
इलेक्ट्रॉनिक का।
हाँ जी।
तो कहाँ पर आपकी शॉप है? क्या
बलजीत नगर।
बलजीत नगर में?
हाँ जी।
तो अभी आप नए बिजनेस कर रहे हैं?
मुझे हो गया 11-12 साल सर।
प्रधानमंत्री की योजना है मुद्रा, उसके बारे में आपने सुना है?
नहीं सर।
मुद्रा के बारे में नहीं सुना, क्योंकि मुद्रा के हिसाब से आपने जो लोन लिया है 60,000 का आप बोल रहे हो, वो किशोर लोन कहलाता है।
हाँ जी।
तो वो उनके यहाँ शिशु, किशोर और तरुण करके एक लोन है। तो आपने कुछ मुद्रा के बारे में जानकारी उसकी वजह से आए?
नहीं।
We visited 9 public and private sector banks in northwestern part of Delhi. None of them willing to speak to us on camera about lending to the micro sector or giving out mudra loans. But what they did tell us off the camera was that they have been lending to the smaller businesses even before mudra came into being. But just the difference is now they are called mudra loans. These terms of loans are guaranteed by a government scheme called CGT MSE, Credit Guarantee Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises, a scheme launched in 2000. We're right now here in Delhi's Uttam Nagar in a suburb area where there's a meeting of a lot of micro enterprises owners. आपको आइडिया है मुद्रा लोन क्या होता है? उसमें शिशु, किशोर और तरुण करके हाँ? नहीं पता? आप रेगुलर लोन लेना चाहते थे बिजनेस के हिसाब से अपने, या फिर आप मुद्रा का लोन लेना चाहते थे?
रेगुलर नहीं लेना चाहते थे सर, मुद्रा के लिए लेना चाहते थे।
अच्छा, आपको पता था कि मुद्रा क्या है?
नहीं सर, ये नहीं पता था मेरे को। नहीं।
आप में से किसी को भी कोई आइडिया है कि मुद्रा लोन क्या होता है? किसी को भी? हाँ? किसी को भी कोई आइडिया नहीं है कि मुद्रा लोन क्या होता है? So these people who are coming to take the loans from you, these people are new to business or they've been running their business for a very long time and now they're getting help?
Actually, there are a lot of customers. Some of them are already running their business, small tiny shops like a grocery shop, or some people are making some handicraft items. But some people are also there who are, their husband are involved in some kind of job or the manufacturing or small shops. But these ladies are also want to do some businesses.